The desert sun was setting behind the red rocks when Dakota finally saw his camp. 3 days of hunting had tired him, but he carried fresh meat for his family. His horse's hooves made soft sounds on the dusty ground as he rode closer to home. But something was wrong. The camp was too quiet. No children playing. No women talking by the fire. No baby crying. Dakota jumped down from his horse and ran to his small shelter. Inside, he found his worst fear. His wife Ayanna lay still on their bed, her face pale and cold. The fever had taken her while he was away. But where was their baby? A weak cry came from the corner. Little Nalnish, only 6 months old, was wrapped in a blanket. The baby's face was red from crying and his little body felt too thin. He was starving. Dakota picked up his son and tried to comfort him. But what could he do? The baby needed milk, and Ayanna was gone. The other women from their band had left 2 days ago to find healing plants in the mountains. They wouldn't return for many days. The baby's cries grew weaker. Dakota felt panic rise in his chest. First his wife, now his son. He couldn't lose them both. He looked around the empty camp. Think, he told himself. There had to be someone nearby who could help. Maybe at the old trading post 10 miles away. But that was too far and the baby was too weak to travel. Wait. 3 days ago, smoke had been coming from the old cabin near the creek. Someone was living there. It was risky. Probably a white settler, and his people had good reasons to avoid them. But his son was dying. Dakota wrapped Nalnish in a warm blanket and climbed back on his horse. He rode fast toward the creek, following the thin line of water through the rocks and trees. The cabin sat in a small valley, hidden by tall pine trees. Smoke still came from the chimney. Someone was definitely there. As he got closer, Dakota could hear his baby's weak cries getting softer. There was no time to be careful. He stopped his horse behind a large rock and listened. A woman was singing inside the cabin. The song was soft and sad, in English words he couldn't understand. But her voice sounded kind, not angry or mean. Dakota tied his horse to a tree and walked closer with Nalnish. Through the window, he could see a young woman with brown hair. She was sitting alone by the fire, and she looked very sad. Her clothes were simple and worn, not fancy like the rich settlers he'd seen before. The baby made a small sound and the woman's head turned toward the window. Their eyes met through the glass. For a long moment, neither moved. The woman looked scared but not angry. Dakota saw something in her face he didn't expect, the same deep sadness he felt in his own heart. The baby cried again, weaker than before. The woman stood up quickly and came to the door. She opened it slowly, her hands shaking. "Please," Dakota said in broken English, holding out his dying son. "Baby, hungry, need help." The woman looked at the tiny baby, then back at Dakota's desperate face. She could see this wasn't a trick or attack, this was just a father trying to save his child. She whispered, then stopped. She looked at Nalnish again. The baby was so small, so weak. "Come inside," she said softly. Dakota hesitated. This could be a trap, but when he looked at his son's pale face, he knew he had no choice. He followed her into the warm cabin. Woman gestured for him to sit by the fire. She took a clean cloth and dipped it in warm water, then gently cleaned the baby's face. Nalnish opened his eyes and looked at her. "What happened to his mother?" she asked slowly, using simple words. Dakota touched his chest, then pointed up to the sky. "Gone. Fever." The woman nodded sadly. She understood loss. She went to a shelf and brought back a small bottle of milk. "Goat's milk," she explained with hand gestures. But as she tried to feed the baby, he wouldn't take it. He was too young, too weak. The woman sat quietly for a moment, thinking. Then, she looked at Dakota with serious eyes. "I can help," she said. "But you must trust me." She explained something that shocked him. She had lost her own baby just weeks ago, but her body could still make milk. She could feed Nalnish if Dakota would let her. Dakota stared at this strange white woman. Why would she help an Apache baby? Why would she risk her own safety for a child that wasn't hers? But Nalnish made a small, weak sound, and Dakota realized he was out of options. He nodded slowly. The woman, she pointed to herself and said, Anna, took the baby gently. She spoke softly to him as she fed him, and for the first time in hours, Nalnish stopped crying. He drank hungrily, his little hands grasping at Anna's fingers. As Dakota watched this white woman save his son's life, he felt something he never expected: gratitude. And something else, a strange connection to this sad, kind stranger who had shown mercy when she could have shown fear. Anna looked up at him while the baby ate. He's beautiful, she said softly. What's his name? Nalnish, Dakota replied. It means he lives. Anna smiled for the first time since he'd arrived. Yes, he lives. Outside, the night was getting dark. Dakota knew he should leave, but the baby was finally peaceful, and something told him that Anna was just as alone as he was, just as lost. You stay here alone? He asked carefully. Anna's smile disappeared. She nodded, then looked away. My husband, he was not good man. I ran away. Dakota understood. Bad men existed in all tribes, all colors. This woman was also running from something painful. The baby finished eating and fell asleep in Anna's arms. She rocked him gently, humming that same sad song. Dakota realized she needed this as much as Nalnish did. She needed to care for someone, to have a purpose. He needs to eat again tomorrow, Anna said quietly. And next day. And next day. The meaning was clear. This wasn't just one night of help. If Nalnish was going to live, he would need Anna's care for many weeks. Is dangerous for you, Dakota said. Apache baby, white woman, people not understand. Anna looked at the sleeping child, then at Dakota. I don't care what people think. This baby needs help. That's all that matters. As the fire burned low and the baby slept peacefully, Dakota made a decision that would change everything. He would bring Nalnish back tomorrow, and the day after, for as long as it took to save his son's life. But as he looked at Anna's gentle face in the firelight, he wondered if he was the only one who would be saved by this impossible arrangement. 3 weeks had passed since that first desperate night. Every morning, Dakota rode to Anna's cabin with little Nalnish. Every evening, he returned to his empty camp with his son, fed, clean, and growing stronger. It was a strange arrangement. During the day, Anna cared for the baby while Dakota hunted or gathered supplies. He always brought her something: fresh meat, wild berries, or firewood for her stove. She never asked for payment, but he couldn't take her kindness without giving something back. Slowly, they began to talk more. Anna knew a few Spanish words, and Dakota had learned some English from traders over the years. When words failed them, they used their hands to speak, drawing pictures in the dirt or pointing to things around the cabin. Anna learned that Dakota's name meant friend to all. She laughed when he told her this, saying it fit him perfectly. He was not what she had expected an Apache warrior to be. The stories she'd heard painted all Indians as violent and cruel. But Dakota was gentle with his son, respectful to her, and had kind eyes that showed his pain clearly. Dakota discovered that Anna had been married to a rich man's son in the nearby town, but her husband drank too much and hurt her when he was angry. When she lost their baby during birth, he blamed her and became worse. One night she took a horse and some supplies and ran away to the mountains. Why you help us? Dakota asked one afternoon as Anna fed Nalnish. Your people and my people. We fight. You could be in big trouble. Anna was quiet for a while, stroking the baby's soft black hair. When I lost my baby, I wanted to die too. I felt so empty, so useless. But caring for Nalnish, it makes me feel alive again, like I have a reason to be here. She paused, then added softly, and you're not what I was told Apache people were like. You're just a father who loves his son. That's all I see when I look at you. As the days went by, they developed routines. Anna would have breakfast ready when Dakota arrived. She learned to make the corn cakes his people liked, and he taught her which wild plants were safe to eat. In the evenings before he left, they would sit by the fire and try to teach each other their languages. Tree, Anna would say, pointing outside. Jin, Dakota would reply, and Anna would repeat it carefully. When Nalnish was awake, they would both play with him. The baby was getting chubby and happy, reaching for both of them and laughing when they made funny faces. Sometimes when the baby fell asleep between them, Anna and Dakota would find themselves sitting closer together than they meant to. One rainy day, Anna was teaching Dakota to write his name in English letters when they heard horses approaching. Dakota jumped up and grabbed his weapons, pushing Anna and the baby toward the back room. "Stay hidden," he whispered urgently. Through the window he saw 2 Apache riders. He recognized them, Kuruk, his younger brother, and Nahuel, a friend, from his band. They had been tracking him. Dakota went outside to meet them, trying to look calm. But his heart was pounding. "Brother," Kuruk called out, jumping down from his horse. "We've been worried about you. You disappear every day. Where do you go?" "I hunt in these hills," Dakota replied carefully. "The deer are good here." Nahuel looked around suspiciously. "We see no deer tracks, but we see horse tracks, and smoke from that cabin every day. Who lives there?" Dakota's mind raced. He couldn't lie to his brother, but the truth was too dangerous. "An old trapper," he said. "He is harmless." "Let's meet this harmless trapper," Kuruk said, walking toward the cabin. At that moment, Nalnish started crying inside. Both men froze. "That's a baby crying," Nahuel said slowly. "You said an old trapper lives here." Dakota knew he was caught. "Wait," he said, stepping in front of them. "I need to explain something first." He told them about Ayana's death, about finding Nalnish starving, about the desperate search for help. But he didn't mention that Anna was white. Not yet. "So this trapper has a wife who can feed our nephew?" Kuruk asked. Before Dakota could answer, Anna appeared in the doorway with Nalnish. She had heard the conversation and knew Dakota was in trouble. The baby was crying, and she couldn't let him suffer while the men talked. The silence that followed was deafening. Kuruk and Nahuel stared at the white woman holding an Apache baby. Their hands moved to their weapons. "Dakota," Kuruk said in a low, dangerous voice. "What have you done?" Anna didn't understand their words, but she understood their anger. She held Nalnish closer and looked at Dakota with frightened eyes. "She saved his life," Dakota said quickly. "When I found him, he was dying. She has been feeding him for weeks. Look at him. See how healthy he is now." It was true. Nalnish was round and happy, reaching out to his father with chubby arms. But Kuruk and Nahuel only saw a white woman in their territory. "She's a spy," Nahuel declared, "or bait for a trap. White women don't help Apache babies. They fear us, hate us." "Look at her," Dakota argued. "Does she look like a spy? Does she look afraid of the baby?" Anna was listening to the angry voices, trying to understand. She saw the tension, the way the 2 new men kept their hands near their weapons. Slowly, she walked toward them. "Please," she said softly, using one of the Apache words Dakota had taught her. "Nalnish. Good baby. I help. No hurt." The men were shocked to hear her speak Apache words, even simple ones. Anna knelt down and placed Nalnish on a blanket on the ground. The baby immediately reached up toward Dakota, making happy sounds. "She could have killed him," Dakota said quietly. "If she was our enemy, why keep him alive? Why make him healthy and strong?" Kuruk stared at Anna for a long moment. "What does she want in return?" he asked. Dakota realized he'd never thought about this. Anna had never asked for anything except the small gifts he brought. She had never demanded payment or tried to make deals. "Nothing," he said, surprising himself. "She wants nothing, only to help him." Anna seemed to understand they were talking about her. She pointed to herself, then to Nalnish, then made a rocking motion with her arms. Even without shared language, her meaning was clear. She cared for the baby like a mother would. "This is madness," Nahuel muttered. "When the others find out..." They won't find out unless you tell them, Dakota said firmly. And you won't tell them, because you can see what I see. This woman is not our enemy. She is saving my son's life. Kuruk looked at his brother, then at Anna, then at the happy baby on the blanket. How long? He asked. Until he can eat solid food, Dakota replied. Maybe 2 more months. 2 months of this secret, Kuruk said slowly. 2 months of hoping no soldiers find her. 2 months of praying no one else discovers what you're doing. He was quiet for a long time, watching Anna play with Nalnish. The baby was laughing and Anna was smiling in a way that showed real joy, not pretending. Finally, Kuruk sighed. I think you are foolish, brother, but I also think you are right. This woman is not our enemy. We will keep your secret for now. But if anything goes wrong, if she brings danger to our people— I understand, Dakota said. As the 2 men rode away, Anna came to stand beside Dakota. She had been learning more English words, and she spoke carefully. Your brother. He is not happy. He is worried, Dakota replied. But he will not tell others. For now, we are safe. Anna nodded, then looked at him with serious eyes. I know this is dangerous for you too. If you want to stop— No, Dakota said quickly. Nalnish needs you, and— He paused, realizing he was about to say something that might change everything between them. And I think maybe you need us too. Anna's eyes filled with tears, but she smiled. Yes, she whispered. I do need you. Both of you. As the sun set that evening, they sat by the fire with Nalnish sleeping peacefully between them. They were no longer just strangers helping each other. They were becoming something neither had expected, a family. The morning started like any other. Anna was feeding Nalnish when she heard the thunder of many horses approaching, but these weren't the gentle sounds of Dakota's daily arrival. These were war horses, moving fast and with purpose. She grabbed the baby and ran to the window. Her heart sank when she saw them, at least 12 Apache warriors riding hard toward the cabin. Dakota was at the front, but his face was tense and worried. Behind him rode an older man with silver in his hair and scars across his chest. This had to be Chief Matto, the leader Dakota had told her about. Anna held Nalnish close and whispered, It's going to be okay, little one. Whatever happens, I won't let anyone hurt you. The riders surrounded the cabin. Anna could hear them talking, in rapid Apache, their voices sharp with anger and suspicion. Through the words she couldn't understand, she heard her own name being spoken with disgust. Dakota dismounted and approached the door slowly. When he entered, Anna could see the pain in his eyes. They know, he said simply. Someone saw us and told the chief. I'm sorry, Anna. I tried to stop them from coming, but— It's okay, Anna replied, though her voice shook. I knew this day would come. What do they want? They want to see you, to decide what to do about you. Before Anna could respond, Chief Matto entered the cabin. He was a tall, impressive man whose presence filled the room. His dark eyes moved from Anna to the baby, then back to Anna. He spoke to Dakota in Apache. He asks why I brought a white woman into Apache business, Dakota translated. He wants to know if you are a spy for the army. Anna took a deep breath and stepped forward. She had been practicing Apache words for weeks, and now she tried to use them. Great chief, she said slowly in broken Apache. I am no spy. I help baby only. Baby was dying. I could not watch child die. Chief Matto's eyebrows rose in surprise. He hadn't expected her to speak any of his language. He said something else to Dakota. He asks what you want in return for helping Nalnish, Dakota explained. Anna looked down, at the baby in her arms, then back at the chief. I want nothing. When I feed him, my heart feels less empty. When he smiles, I remember how to be happy. He has given me more than I have given him. Dakota translated her words. Chief Matto listened, carefully, then spoke again. He says you are either very wise or very foolish. He cannot decide which. More warriors entered the cabin, making the small space crowded and tense. Among them was a man Anna had never seen before, young, handsome, but with cruel eyes. He looked at her with obvious hatred. "This is Keme," Dakota whispered. "He has wanted to be chief for a long time. He will use this against me if he can." Keme spoke rapidly and angrily, pointing at Anna several times. Even without understanding his words, Anna could tell he was saying terrible things about her. "He says I have been bewitched by the white woman," Dakota translated. "He says she is poisoning my son's blood with her milk. He wants her killed immediately." Anna's arms tightened around Nalnish, but she forced herself to stay calm. "What does the chief say?" Chief Matto was watching the baby carefully. Nalnish was awake now, looking around at all the new faces with curious eyes. He wasn't afraid. He was used to Dakota, and had learned to trust the people Dakota trusted. The chief reached out slowly toward the baby. Anna hesitated, then carefully placed Nalnish in the old man's arms. The baby looked up at the chief and smiled, reaching for his silver hair. Something changed in Chief Matto's face when he saw that smile. He spoke softly to the baby in Apache, and Nalnish laughed, a sound that filled the silent cabin. "What did he say?" Anna whispered. "He said, 'You are strong, little warrior. You have your father's spirit,'" Dakota replied. Chief Matto held the baby for several minutes, studying his face, his bright eyes, his healthy color. Finally, he spoke to Anna directly. "He asks how you knew to care for an Apache baby," Dakota translated. "Our babies are different from white babies. They need different things, different foods as they grow." Anna had been waiting for this question. "My grandmother was Cherokee," she said. "She was taken from her people when she was young and raised by white family, but she remembered the old ways. She taught me about native children, native healing. She always said all babies are the same, in their hearts no matter their blood." This translation caused a stir among the warriors. Several spoke at once, and Anna caught a few words she recognized. They were asking about her grandmother, about Cherokee ways, about what else she knew. Chief Matto handed Nalnish back to Anna and spoke to the group. His voice was firm and final. "He says you will be tested," Dakota explained. "If you truly know the old ways, prove it. Old woman Ciala is sick with fever, the same fever that killed Ayana. If you can help her, maybe, you are truly friend to the Apache. If you cannot, or if you will not try." The meaning was clear. This was Anna's chance to prove herself, but it was also a test that could cost someone's life if she failed. "Where is this woman?" Anna asked without hesitation. The warriors were surprised by her quick agreement. They had expected her to make excuses or show fear. Instead, she was already moving toward the door. "Wait," Keme said in English, surprising everyone. "This is trick. She will poison old woman, then claim fever killed her. We cannot trust white witch." Anna turned to face him directly. "You are afraid," she said simply. "Afraid that I might succeed. Afraid that your people will see a white woman can be trusted. Afraid that your hate is wrong." Kem's face darkened with rage, but before he could respond, Chief Matto spoke sharply to him. The message was clear. "Be quiet." The group mounted their horses and rode to the Apache camp. Anna rode behind Dakota, holding Nalnish, her heart pounding with nervousness. She had learned some healing from her grandmother, but that was years ago. What if she couldn't help? What if the old woman died while Anna was trying to treat her? The Apache camp was larger than Anna had imagined. Dozens of families lived here, with children playing between the shelters and women working around cooking fires. When they saw Anna, everything stopped. Children hid behind their mothers. Men reached for weapons. The silence was heavy with suspicion and fear. Old woman Ciala lay in a shelter at the center of camp. She was very sick, burning with fever and barely conscious. Anna knelt beside her and touched her forehead. It was dangerously hot. "Has she been able to drink water?" Anna asked. "Very little," replied an older woman who seemed to be Ciala's daughter. "She cannot keep anything down." Anna remembered her grandmother's teachings. This type of fever needed to be broken gradually, not all at once. She asked for specific plants: willow bark for the fever, mint for the stomach sickness, and elderberries for strength. These plants grow in the hills, she explained, but they must be prepared in a special way. The willow bark must be boiled until the water turns red. The mint must be crushed fresh, not dried, and the elderberries must be cooked with honey. Several of the Apache women nodded. They knew these plants too, but they had never heard of preparing them this way. As Anna worked, more people gathered to watch. She was careful to explain everything she was doing, to show them her methods. She wasn't trying to keep secrets or claim special powers. She was just sharing what her grandmother had taught her. Slowly, over several hours, old woman Ciala began to improve. Her fever started to drop. She was able to drink small sips of the willow bark tea. By evening, she was awake and talking. The change in the camp was immediate. The women who had been hostile began asking Anna questions about other healing methods. The men stopped reaching for their weapons when she passed by. Even the children grew curious, creeping closer to see the white woman who had helped their elder. But Kame wasn't ready to give up. That evening, as Anna sat by the fire holding Nalnish, he approached her. "You got lucky," he said in English. "One old woman lives, so you think you are safe. But I know what you really are. You are here to learn our secrets, to find our weaknesses. When the soldiers come, you will tell them everything." Anna looked at him steadily. "If I was a spy, why would I risk my life to heal your people? Why would I care for Nalnish when I could have let him die?" "Because you are smart. You make us trust you first. Then you destroy us." "You're wrong," Anna said quietly. "But I understand why you think this way. Your people have been hurt by mine many times. You have no reason to trust any white person." She stood up, still holding the baby. "But look at Nalnish. See how healthy he is, how happy. Does he look like a child who has been harmed? Does Dakota look like a man who has been deceived?" Kame looked at the baby, who was reaching out toward him with friendly curiosity. For a moment, his hard expression softened. "Children can be fooled," he said, but his voice lacked conviction. "Yes," Anna agreed, "but not for months, not day after day. Children know who truly cares for them and who pretends. Nalnish knows I love him, just as he knows his father loves him, and just as he will know if someone means him harm." As if to prove her point, Nalnish made happy sounds and tried to grab Kame's feathered necklace. Despite himself, Kame almost smiled. But then he hardened again. "Pretty words change nothing. You are still white. We are still Apache. That can never be different." "Maybe not," Anna said. "But we can choose whether that difference means we must be enemies. I choose friendship. I choose love. What do you choose?" The cavalry horses thundered to a stop just outside the Apache camp. Anna could see torches blazing in the darkness and count at least 20 soldiers. At their head rode Thomas Mackenzie, her husband, his face twisted with anger and determination. "Anna," his voice boomed across the camp. "I know you're in there. Come out now and no one has to get hurt." Chief Matto stepped forward, flanked by his warriors. He spoke calmly but firmly in English. "You are not welcome here. Leave our lands." Thomas laughed bitterly. "Your lands? This is American territory now, old man. And you're harboring my wife, a white woman who was clearly taken against her will." Anna felt her blood turn cold. Thomas was claiming she had been kidnapped. If the soldiers believed that, they would attack the camp to rescue her. Innocent people would die because of her. "I have to go to him," she whispered to Dakota, who had moved protectively beside her. "If I don't, he'll attack." "No," Dakota said firmly. "You don't have to go anywhere. You chose to leave him. You have the right to stay where you want to be." But Anna could see the Apache families around her, children hiding behind their parents, warriors preparing for a fight they didn't want. She couldn't let these people suffer because of her past. "Take Nalnish," she said, placing the baby in Dakota's arms. "Keep him safe." Before anyone could stop her, Anna walked toward the edge of camp. When Thomas saw her approaching, his expression changed from anger to something that looked almost like relief. "Anna, thank God," he called out. "Are you hurt? Did these savages harm you?" Anna stopped just out of his reach. In the torchlight, she could see he looked older, thinner, but his eyes still held that dangerous gleam she remembered so well. "I'm fine, Thomas," she said calmly. "I wasn't taken against my will. I left willingly, and I'm staying willingly." Thomas's face darkened. "Don't be ridiculous. You've clearly been brainwashed or threatened. No white woman would choose to live with Indians unless she was forced." "I chose to stay because they treat me with kindness," Anna replied. "Something you never did." Several soldiers shifted uncomfortably at her words. This wasn't the reunion they had expected. Thomas dismounted and moved closer. "You're my wife, Anna. You belong with me. These people have filled your head with lies, but I'm here to bring you home." "Home?" Anna's voice grew stronger. "You mean back to a house where I was afraid to speak, afraid to leave my room, afraid to do anything that might anger you? That was never a home, Thomas. It was a prison. You ungrateful—" Thomas started forward angrily, but the cavalry captain put a hand on his arm. "Mrs. Mackenzie," the captain said politely, "I'm Captain Wilson. Your husband has been very worried about you. He says you've been missing for months." "I haven't been missing, Captain," Anna replied. "I left my husband because he was cruel to me. These people have shown me nothing but kindness." Captain Wilson looked confused. "But surely you can't want to stay here, living with these Indians. What about your life, your family?" Anna glanced back toward the camp where she could see Dakota holding Nalnish. The baby was reaching toward her, making small sounds of distress at being separated from her. "My family is here," she said simply. Thomas exploded with rage. "That's not your family. That's a savage baby you've been tricked into caring for. You're coming home with me right now." He lunged forward and grabbed Anna's arm roughly. Immediately, every Apache warrior raised his weapon. The soldiers responded by raising theirs. The air crackled with tension. "Let her go," came Dakota's voice from behind Anna. He had approached silently, still carrying Nalnish, but now his other hand rested on his knife. Thomas looked at him with disgust. "So this is the savage who's been keeping my wife prisoner." "I am no one's prisoner," Anna said firmly, pulling her arm free from Thomas's grip. "I am here because I choose to be here." "You're sick," Thomas snarled. "Living with these animals has made you lose your mind. But don't worry. I'll get you proper treatment once you're back where you belong." Anna felt the old fear trying to creep back into her heart. Thomas's voice, his threats, his absolute certainty that he owned her. It was all so familiar. For a moment she felt like the frightened woman who had run away months ago. Then Nalnish made a small sound, and she looked at the baby reaching for her. She remembered the feeling of purpose she'd found in caring for him. She thought about the Apache women who had begun to accept her, teaching her their ways and learning from hers. She thought about Dakota's gentle strength and the way he looked at her like she was precious, not property. "No," she said, and her voice was steady. "I'm not going back with you, Thomas. I'm staying here." Thomas's face turned red with fury. "You don't have a choice. You're my wife. I own you." "Own me?" Anna stepped closer to him, no longer afraid. "You don't own me. You never owned me. I am my own person, and I choose to stay with people who value that." "Captain," Thomas turned to the soldier desperately. "She's clearly been brainwashed. You have to help me get her back." Captain Wilson looked uncomfortable. He had come expecting to rescue a kidnapped woman, not to drag away someone who clearly didn't want to be rescued. "Mrs. Mackenzie," he said carefully, "are you saying you want to stay here of your own free will?" "Yes," Anna replied firmly, "completely of my own free will." "She doesn't know what she's saying," Thomas shouted. "They've done something to her mind. She's not thinking clearly." "I'm thinking more clearly than I have in years," Anna said. "Thomas, you hurt me. You controlled me. You made me afraid to even speak in my own home. These people have shown me what it means to be treated with respect." One of the soldiers, A young man barely out of his teens spoke up. "Ma'am, begging your pardon, but what about— I mean, living with Indians, that ain't natural for a white woman." Anna looked at him kindly. "What's natural is taking care of each other. What's natural is showing kindness to those who need help. What's natural is choosing love over fear." She gestured toward Nalnish. "This baby was dying when I found him. Should I have let him die because his skin is different from mine? Should I have turned away from his father's grief because we come from different peoples?" The young soldier looked at the baby, who was staring back at him with bright, curious eyes. "No, ma'am. I reckon not." Thomas saw he was losing control of the situation. "Fine," he snarled. "If you won't come willingly, I'll take you by force. Captain, I demand you arrest these Indians for kidnapping my wife." "Now hold on," Captain Wilson said. "The lady says she's here willingly. I can't arrest someone for kidnapping when there's no kidnapping." "Then arrest them for something else." Thomas's voice grew desperate and ugly. "They're Indians. There must be some law they're breaking just by existing." The captain looked deeply uncomfortable now. Several of his soldiers were shifting nervously, clearly not happy with the direction this was taking. Chief Maddow, who had been listening to the whole conversation, stepped forward. "Captain," he said in careful English, "we want no trouble with the army. We live peacefully. We harm no one. This woman came to us asking for nothing but the chance to help a dying child. We have given her protection and she has given us healing knowledge. This is fair trade. You see?" Thomas pointed accusingly. "They admit she's valuable to them. They're using her for her knowledge. That's kidnapping." "No," Anna said firmly. "That's friendship. That's what people do when they care about each other. They share their knowledge, their skills, their lives." She walked back toward Dakota and gently took Nalnish from his arms. The baby immediately snuggled against her, content and peaceful. "This child needed a mother," she said loud enough for everyone to hear. "I needed a purpose. His father needed help. I needed protection from a cruel husband. We helped each other. That's not kidnapping. That's family." Thomas stared at her in shock. "Family? You call these savages family?" "I call people who treat me with kindness and respect family," Anna replied. "I call people who trust me to care for their most precious treasures family. I call people who protect me when I'm in danger family." She looked directly at Thomas. "You were never family to me. You were a master who thought he owned a slave." The words hung in the air like a slap. Several soldiers looked away, uncomfortable with the raw truth in Anna's voice. Thomas's face went through several emotions: rage, hurt, desperation, and finally, cold calculation. "Fine," he said quietly. "If that's how you want it, Anna. But don't think this is over. You're still legally my wife. I still have rights." "What rights?" Anna asked. Thomas smiled, and the expression made Anna's blood run cold. "The right to everything you own, including any children you might have or adopt." He looked meaningfully at Nalnish. "That baby you're so fond of, if you're caring for him like a mother, then legally, he's part of your household. Which means, he's part of my household. Which means I can claim custody of him." Anna felt the ground shift under her feet. She hadn't thought about the legal implications of caring for Nalnish. If Thomas could prove in court that she had adopted the baby, he might be able to take the child away from Dakota. "You wouldn't," she whispered. Thomas's smile grew wider and crueler. "Try me. Come back with me now and I'll forget all about the Indian baby. Stay here and I'll use every legal trick I know to take him away from his father. And trust me, Anna, I know a lot of legal tricks." 2 years had passed since that night when Thomas rode away in defeat. The morning sun painted the valley gold as Anna stepped outside the home she and Dakota had built together. Not in the Apache camp, but in a special place between two worlds. Their house sat on a hill overlooking both the Apache lands and the growing town of Millbrook. It was a symbol of the bridge they had become between their two peoples. Half the house was built in Apache style, with traditional materials and designs. The other half showed European influences, with glass windows and a stone fireplace. Like their marriage, it was a blend of two different ways of life that somehow created something beautiful. Anna smiled as she watched Nalnish, now a sturdy 3-year-old, playing in the yard with his little sister Elin. The baby girl had Anna's brown hair but Dakota's dark eyes, and she was the joy of everyone who met her. She was proof that love could create something new and wonderful when two different worlds came together. "Mama Anna," Nalnish called, running toward her with his arms full of wildflowers. At 3, he spoke both Apache and English perfectly, switching between them as easily as breathing. "Look what I found for you." "They're beautiful, my little warrior," Anna replied in Apache, then switched to English. "What should we do with them?" "Put them on the table for Papa when he comes home," Elin suggested in her baby voice, mixing both languages in the way that made Anna's heart sing. Anna looked toward the town, where she could see riders approaching. Not soldiers this time. These were friends coming for the weekly gathering that had become a tradition at their home. The first to arrive was Dr. Peterson, the town's elderly physician. When Anna had first started helping with medical cases that stumped him, he had been suspicious. But when her methods saved lives that his medicine couldn't, he became her biggest supporter. Now they worked together regularly, combining European medical knowledge with traditional Apache healing. "Morning, Anna," Dr. Peterson called as he climbed down from his buggy. "How's that arm Chief Maddow broke last week?" "Healing well," Anna replied. "He's been taking the willow bark tea like I told him, and the bone is setting straight. He should be throwing warriors around again in another month." Dr. Peterson laughed. Chief Maddow had broken his arm not in battle, but trying to show young warriors that he could still climb trees like a boy. The incident had become a favorite story in both communities. Next came the Johnsons, a farm family who had lost their crop to disease until Anna taught them about companion planting methods her Apache mothers-in-law had shared with her. Behind them rode Nahuel and 2 other Apache men who had become regular visitors to town, trading crafts and horses with the white settlers. But the most important arrival came last. Dakota rode up the hill with Captain Wilson beside him. The captain had become an unlikely friend after the night of Thomas's confrontation. He had used his influence to make sure Thomas's legal threats never materialized, and now he often served as a mediator between the Apache and the growing town. "Papa!" Both children ran toward Dakota, who scooped them up with strong arms. Anna felt her heart warm watching him with their children. He was as gentle a father as he was skilled a warrior. "How did the meeting go?" Anna asked as the men approached. Dakota's face was serious, but hopeful. "The territorial governor has agreed to our proposal. The land between Apache territory and the town will become neutral ground, a place where both peoples can meet, trade, and learn from each other." Captain Wilson nodded. "It's the first agreement of its kind in the territory. If it works here, it could be a model for other places where Indians and settlers are trying to live in peace." Anna felt tears of joy in her eyes. This had been their dream for 2 years, to create a place where the two worlds could meet without fear, where children could play together regardless of their skin color, where knowledge could be shared instead of hoarded. "There's more," Dakota continued, his eyes shining. "They want you to be the official interpreter and mediator. You would help settle disputes, translate important documents, and teach others how to work between both cultures." Anna was speechless. She had gone from being a runaway wife with no purpose to being offered one of the most important jobs in the territory. Dr. Peterson stepped forward. "Anna, I've been authorized to offer you something too. The Territorial Medical Board wants to officially recognize your healing methods. You would be the first person to hold certification in both European and Native American medicine." Anna looked around at all the faces watching her. Apache and white, men and women, friends who had once been strangers from completely different worlds. 2 years ago, she had been running from a life that felt like death. Now she was being offered chances to help others, to build bridges to make the world better. "I accept," she said simply. "Both offers. If it will help bring our peoples together, I accept." The celebration that followed lasted well into the evening. Anna had learned to cook dishes from both cultures, and the dinner table was loaded with Apache corn cakes and venison alongside European-style bread and vegetables. Children played games that mixed traditions from both sides, while adults shared stories and laughed together. As the sun set, Anna found herself standing on the porch with Dakota, watching their friends, Apache and White, sitting around the fire together. Nalnish was on Chief Maddo's lap, listening to a traditional story, while little Elin played with Captain Wilson's pocket watch. "Do you ever wonder what would have happened if you hadn't found me that night?" Anna asked softly. Dakota wrapped his arms around her. "I try not to think about it. The spirits brought us together when we both needed saving. You saved Nalnish's life, and he saved yours. How did he save mine? He gave you a reason to live again, just like you gave me hope after Ayana died. Just like we both found love when we thought our hearts were too broken to heal." Anna leaned back against his chest. "I never expected this. Life. I never imagined I could be so happy. Sometimes the best things come from the most unexpected places," Dakota replied. "Like finding a white woman nursing an Apache baby and discovering she was the missing piece of our family." A commotion near the fire caught their attention. Young Jimmy Thompson, the minister's son, was trying to learn how to make Apache-style arrows from Nahuel. His technique was terrible, and everyone was laughing, but it was good-natured laughter, the kind that comes from friends teasing each other. "Look at that," Anna marveled. 2 years ago, those boys would have been reaching for weapons when they saw each other. Now they're laughing together. "Change happens slowly," Dakota agreed. "But it happens. One person at a time, one friendship at a time, one family at a time." As if summoned by their conversation, Kemi approached the porch. The man who had once hated Anna so fiercely now considered her a sister. The change hadn't happened overnight. It had taken months of small kindnesses, shared work, and Anna's patient refusal to meet his anger with anger of her own. "Anna," he said formally, "I wanted you to know. My daughter wants to learn your healing methods. Would you teach her?" Anna smiled. "Of course, but only if you'll teach my Nalnish the traditional warrior skills. He should know both his heritages." Kemi nodded seriously. "It would be my honor." After he left, Anna and Dakota stood quietly for a moment, listening to the sounds of their mixed community, enjoying the evening together. "You know what the most amazing part is?" Anna said finally. "Thomas thought he was threatening us when he tried to separate us, but his cruelty just pushed us to make the choice we should have made anyway, to become a real family." "Do you ever hear from him?" Anna shook her head. "Captain Wilson told me he moved back east after his business deals fell through. Apparently, when people learned how he treated me, they stopped wanting to work with him. It seems reputation matters even to cruel men." "Good," Dakota said simply. "He lost something precious through his own actions. That is justice." A new sound caught their attention, horses approaching fast. But instead of alarm, Anna felt excitement. She recognized the rhythm of those hooves. "It's Kuruk," she called. "And he's brought someone with him." Dakota's brother rode into their yard with a young white woman behind him. She looked frightened and tired, her dress torn and her face streaked with tears. Anna immediately went to help her down from the horse. "You're safe now," she said gently. "What's your name?" "Beth," the woman whispered. "Beth Crawford, I ran away from my husband. Kuruk found me in the desert. I was lost and I was going to die. But he saved me." Anna looked at Dakota meaningfully. Another woman running from cruelty, another chance to help, another opportunity to build bridges between worlds. "You can stay here as long as you need," Anna told Beth. "We understand what it's like to run from a life that was destroying you, and we know how to help you build a better one." As they helped Beth into the house, Anna realized that their story wasn't ending. It was just beginning. Every person they helped, every friendship they built, every bridge they created between cultures was part of a larger story. They were writing a new chapter in history, one where love could overcome hate, where understanding could replace fear, where different peoples could choose to see their similarities instead of their differences. Later that night, After their guests had gone home and the children were